now to the topic we have at hand, that is the review of Nigeria's 2023 economy. So this year is a special one for Nigeria because we had two presidents. President Muhammadu Buhari completed his tenure and then handed over to President Bola Tinubu, who is still in the early stages of his administration. And of course, this is the end of one and the starting of another. So the juxtaposing, it could be a little bit conflicting. So if we are going to start with that, let us start from the first quarter of 2023 when President Muhammadu Buhari was still in governance, and then the handing over to President Tinubu. How would you rate the economy that was then and what we have present now?
Well, the economy of during the last regime, Buhari regime, and the one for Tinubu, there's nothing different anyway. But generally in 2023, the economy is so bad. The businesses, you can say that so many companies fold up. It's enough to tell you that there's all is not well in our economy. We were able to know those companies that fold up, because they are multinational companies. But micro entrepreneurs that fold up is uncountable. All right, that is why we see countless, there's rising of unemployment on daily basis. All right, so the 2023, generally, my own take as an entrepreneur and also as a leader in the industry, it is nothing to write home about.
Definitely. And now to Dr. Akinsude Okunsola. How would you rate this year's economy? That is the one of President Buhari to the one of President Tinubu.
Buhari ran the economy from January up to May, which is about 5 months. While President Tinubu is still running the economy of 2023, also for another 7 months or 6 months, going to 7 now down the line. The economy under the former president, was an economy that was run on the regime of subsidy, the subsidy regime. You recall that the removal of subsidy was, extended up till the last day in office of the last administration. And as at then, prices, inflation, and other indices, money in circulation, monetary policy rates were still, on the downward side. But as soon as the current president came into office, he removed the subsidy, he floated the naira, he has lifted ban on several, banned foreign goods and items. He has lifted restrictions on domiciliary accounts, such that people with domiciliary accounts can now do transfer, can withdraw from their domiciliary account. These are major economic decisions that this administration has taken. And then comparing it with what was in existence before, you will discover that what we had before was somehow better than what we're experiencing now. Even the current president actually said it, that we just have to suffer for the meantime, and then we will now enjoy later. And he said he feels our pain. I don't know if that's true, if he actually feels it. I don't know if that's true. But if you look at the first 5 months of 2023, the way the economy was run, I think it was a fragile economy that the last administration was just managing. Subsidy was not sustainable, but they kept pushing and borrowing some money to finance the subsidy of petroleum. And then the borrowings of the last administration went as high as 80 trillion. That's what the current administration took over from the last government. And then this government is trying to see how they can run away from the trend of borrowing. But it's like they can't even do that now. They have also planned in the 2024 budget to also continue to sustain borrowing. I don't know how that will be. The Minister of Finance said it in the National Assembly that borrowing is not sustainable. But when the budget came out, we saw, in fact, before the budget came out, the president has already sent a letter to the National Assembly for another proposal to borrow another funds. So I think the borrowing of this country is still going to be sustained because it's already infused. We have budgeted a deficit budget again for 2024. So obviously, this government is going to toe the line of borrowing, despite that they are looking for ways to increase the revenue, which was a challenge. So looking at the last administration, though the economy they were just managing it with some patching of borrowings here and there. They borrowed some money from the World Bank, to finance subsidy. We also learned that government was broke. They couldn't pay salary. They had to borrow. We don't know how true was that. So many back and forth also on that. The CBN also, they were also on their own side trying to manage the monetary policy before the Emefiele administration was sacked. And then we got an acting CBN governor also in the course of the year before the substantive CBN governor Cardoso also came into office. So the economy this year has been mixed, though due to political instability. You also know that 2023 is a year of election. We started with the Naira redesign, the cashless policy also in the earlier part of the year, which made Naira to become so scarce. And then it's also made the price of some goods to go down, but people suffered for it. People paid dearly for it. So the economy has been, with mixed feelings throughout the year. But where we are now, going into 2024, we are hopeful, though the budget is termed budget of renewed hope, budget. What is giving us hope now is just that we are trying to see how to stop importation of petroleum products, both the diesel, the petrol, the gas, and all that. We are trying to see how to stop the importation and then begin to refine locally, and that's just the hope that we have. But there are also other areas that government need to come out to be sincere to the people, so that the people can now actually know whether we truly have a revenue problem or it is corruption that is actually eating into our revenue. We need to actually know, going forward.
All right, very well. Thank you so much for that. So a lot of people in Nigeria believe that the reason we are suffering so much in the country is because of fuel subsidy removal, and some have blamed this present administration. But a lot of brilliant minds have also come to remind people that the top three presidential candidates that people voted for the February election, 3 of them did say that subsidy was going to leave, and yet people are still blaming removal of subsidy for the economic hardship that we are having in the country. So do you feel like if subsidy would have been sustained, perhaps it's going to be a different story, or it's just the disaster that has been postponed to the future?
Yes, the subsidy removal was definitely going to happen. All economists, all politicians agreed and alluded to the fact that the subsidy regime was not sustainable because it will only continue to put us in debt, as that is not helping our, external reserve. So, but what people are saying is that the strategy at which we are going to put in place to cushion the effect on the people needs to be put in place. And that is where people are now complaining and saying, oh, the way the subsidy was removed was so sudden. It's like there was no plan on ground. It was after the removal of the subsidy that the president said, oh, we are now going to have a meeting with labor. We are now going to, have meeting with other stakeholders. No, people feel that you should have consulted widely on what you need to do before you just suddenly just say subsidy is gone. It shouldn't have been taken off that way. Moreover, you also know that the subsidy regime was supposed to last till the 30th of June. But this administration came and just on May 29th, just said subsidy was gone. It was a shock to the economy, to the market. Even the marketers and the importers of this product, it was a shock to them. But we just have to endure. The president told us that, you see, this is just like a pin in the neck. It's either we remove this pin or it kills us. So we just have to endure the pain of removing the pin. And then after a while, we get healed, and then we begin to live normal life. And everyone actually applauded that fact. Okay, let's see how this goes. Let's see what government will put in place. But we discovered that government did not even put anything in place. The intervention of palliative that the government said they are going to give to states, of 5 billion to each state government. There was no structure on ground. In fact, they were confused initially. They said they are going to share 8,000 naira, and then later the president, retrieved and said, "Oh, sorry, we cancel 8,000. What we are going to do is I will give the state governors the money, let them go and give their people." And then that was another, problem again, because these governors are just coming into office. They don't even have any structure of welfare to their people on ground. And then 2 billion was released. So these are the back and forth that we had. They were talking about CNG buses or vehicles, conversion of fuel, motor vehicles to CNG. They're supposed to have discussed that. They're supposed to have, a very good roadmap to subsidy removal. Since we know that Port Harcourt refineries and Dangote refineries and co will come up by the end of this year, why didn't we sustain or manage to continue to pay that subsidy for the 6 months that will also see that Dangote refinery, Port Harcourt refinery, and other refineries will come up? Why is it that we need to suffer for the 6 months before they come up? So many questions from Nigerians as to this angle. But we all accepted that subsidy just have to go because the borrowing was becoming too much. We're spending up to 7 trillion per annum on only subsidy, which is like 1/3 of our budget already. And we have other expenditures that need to be carried out. So we all know that subsidy just have to go. But the approach and the strategy that the government, used to actually remove the subsidy was actually the pain. And that's why people felt the pain so much. And so many people slided into poverty the more. Remember, in 2022, the statistics from the NBC came out that over 130 million Nigerians were multidimensionally poor. I can tell you, as soon as subsidy was removed, the number, got increased because even the civil servants, the salaries couldn't even couldn't take them home. Not to even talk of cost of transporting themselves to their offices on a daily basis. So that was just the issue. But the hope we have, just like I said, is that we are going to see that we begin to refine this petroleum product locally, and then we'll see to the end of importation of petroleum products.
All right, definitely. Well, like the name of the budget for 2024, that is a renewed hope. But now let us look at some of the initiatives that the federal government tries to put in place to make sure that people do not suffer as much. And this was contained in one of President Tinubu's national broadcast, where he promised that medium, small-scale enterprises would be giving some loans to and therefore people to start a business and all that. And for you, as someone who is active in the sector, how do you see that move? Do you see it being executed properly, and do you feel like a lot of Nigerians have been able to benefit from that scheme?
Well, as anytime the government is saying they are giving entrepreneurs money, as I always said, we have ghost workers, so we have ghost entrepreneurs. What is the measure they put in place, in giving this money? There's no all these billions of nairas, dollars the government are claiming, even the one from back of industry. They only end up in paying newspaper and television. I start to be corrected. Right? Now we have advised government what to do. Time with that number. Create what they call entrepreneur desks in each commercial bank. I want to tell you that, in fact, as a president of an organization, and also as a member of Association of Business Owners in Nigeria, this money did not go to anybody. The only way they can do it is either they give the money to the association, because we know our members. We know the capacity of our members. Some of our members are looking for 20,000 only. Now, that's when they are applying online. Most times, if you apply, even including myself, they ask you to wait. And you will not, there's nowhere, they don't even have office. Your application have been accepted. You have to wait. We waited for Kingdom Come. The money is not there. All right. So we have advised the government what to do. Let this money be given to commercial bank. Let there be a desk in each commercial bank. Let there be entrepreneur desk where an entrepreneur can enter. They can be able to choose, through your data, check your business transaction and know how much you need. And they can be able to visit you and know if you are an entrepreneur. So all of this they are saying that they are giving to, as I said earlier, most entrepreneurs have followed up their business. That's the truth. It's truth. Because we are the highest employer of labor because we use unskilled laborers. As a micro entrepreneur, they are following up their businesses, they are also laying off their workers. So that is so all these billions that they are claiming they are giving to people, we are not saying anything.
Yeah, that's not so good. So if you are to mention a thing or two or three that you would like to see different in 2024, that you feel like if these things were implemented, then maybe in few months' time, Nigerians will start smiling for real now, not suffering and smiling. What are the things you would like to see put in place?
Now, just of recent, the government inaugurates a council of a council. In that council, there's people that is that council doesn't have anything related to business. These are former governors, former ministers. So the stakeholders are not there. So the stakeholders that know what entrepreneurs are going through. As I said that earlier, there are some chemicals we are buying for 18,000 in 2005. But today that chemical is 120,000 naira per buy. And you can see that what we only advise the government to do to carry the stakeholders along. So we can be able to give them advice on what to do, on how to run the economy. Because there's any country that neglects the role of SMEs in the country cannot make headway. We are talking of the issue of dollar coming down. The dollar will not come down until we start being as a producing nation. As it is now, we are consuming. Because most of the things that we use in the country is being imported into the country. So the government in this coming year, they should look inward and pick the leaders of association owners and put them into the system so that they can be able to advise them rightly on what to do. We can be able to turn around this economy under 6 months if government do the right thing to do. Because as it is now, the micro entrepreneurs will need fund. Let there be a fund, and if they are providing fund, let it go to the appropriate people, not audio money. We don't believe in that. Let there be an order. Let people get fund in order to caution. As I said, when you are buying a chemical of 18,000 naira, as they are nice 170,000, people need money to beat up. And also, let our refineries be working, because most of these chemicals are byproduct of crude. Because by the time you carry the crude to another country, after the refinery, they say transport it here. That makes those chemicals to be costly. And if nothing is done, and you can say that pure water is going to 15 very soon. Yes, because of the raw material, the nylon is not the water. The nylon also, and also they should also make provision for power, steady power. In my office, I consume 30,000 per day in diesel, almost 700,000 in a month, almost 8 million plus in a year, without government support. So let there be a steady power supply. I want to tell you that Nigeria will be a better place for all of us. Definitely.
And now to Dr. Akintunde Ogunshola. The federal government promised that the refinery will start working by December. That is the one in Port Harcourt. And then we got news early this week that it has started working. And they promised Nigerians that after Christmas, the price of cooking gas is going to reduce. But then this could have been perfect news. But we also got information from the NNPCL GMD, that is Military, who said that the target of refinery is not necessarily to reduce the cost of petrol, but to make sure that Nigeria starts exporting this refined product. Now that we have these two should I say, constructing things in place? Should Nigerians still be hopeful that if this refinery starts working, there will be reduction in prices of petrol and other crude oil byproducts, and probably there will be this drastic reduction in prices of goods in the market?
All right, thank you. Well, we've been seeing conflicting policies, so getting conflicting news again is not new, because that's what usually happens in Nigeria. We've heard news of Dangote refinery starting since first quarter of this year, and we are here still talking at the end of the year. Dangote refinery has not commenced production. Now, with this conflicting news, I think Nigerians are not even ready to take any of this news again. They are just ready to see that, yes, production has started, and they now want to now see the effect, whether the prices will go down. There will be no longer landing costs. There will be no more sourcing for dollars to go and import petrol. So I don't know why the prices of these products will not go down. Maybe they want to add some other frivolous expenditures into it. We don't know yet. But ordinarily, speaking economically and financially, the price of petrol is supposed to drop. Not only petrol, even diesel and aviation fuel, kerosene and others, supposed to go down, because we are no longer shipping. The shipping cost is out of it. The dollarization, talking about sourcing for dollars from CBN to go and pay to other countries, is going to be out of it, because the crude product is going to be supplied. It was agreed that it will be supplied to Dangote. Even Dangote, that is private, it will be supplied to him in naira, not in dollars. So if Dangote is still buying crude from Nigeria's well in dollars, then I think that will be a breach of agreement, and maybe that's why government is coming out to say it will not reduce the price. Then talking about that they want to begin to export. Yes, exportation is very good. It's a welcome development. But I feel that that is where we are going to have another problem. Even before now, when we were doing subsidy, we discovered that some of the subsidy that government is paying is also going out of the shores of Nigeria. Subsidized petroleum products for Nigerians find its way into Benin Republic, find its way into Cameroon. They find their way into Niger, which are meant for Nigerians. So if we begin to say, okay, we want to start to export, we might not even know the quantity of tankers or liters of petrol or diesel or any other petroleum product we are going to be exporting. We are going to be struggling with getting data around that too. Then another issue again is that, you see, everybody has been talking about oil. There's one area that I want to hold government, to explain. Nigeria is more of a gas nation. Nobody is talking about the gas. Even in the 2024 budget, as it has been traditionally, we only used to hear how many barrels of crude that is produced in a day. We have never gotten how many million of cubic meters of gas that is exported in a day. There's no information as to that. And it's like there's no revenue coming from gas. It's only oil that we are all talking about. So you now see that government is not sincere. We are having I think the last addition commissioned the 7th stream or line or so of gas exploration. But after the NLNG has done all that, there's no information again. So possibly maybe when journalists have opportunity with the Minister of Petroleum or the NNPC GMT, they should ask them, we need figure of the gas production that Nigeria produces in a day, and how many millions of cubic meters that is exported, and how much, at what rate. We only know of a crude of $80 per barrel. What about for gas? Because we are still exporting gas every day, and Nigeria is earning dollars from gas also. But I can tell you that there's no information as to that in the budget in Nigeria. Then thirdly, is that other states talk about IGR. The federal government, they don't come out to state the internally generated revenue of the federal government. That information is just put in the budget as orders. They just put other sources. So these are the areas that government need to come out open, so that we can now know truly if we actually have a revenue problem, or possibly it is corruption that is actually eating our revenue. So these are the things. Normally, we expect that the price of fuel should go down. I don't know. I don't understand what the GMD of NNPCL is saying, because economically, we are not importing, we are not using dollars to bring in petrol. So I don't know how the price will not come down. Let him give us maybe breakdown of the cost of production in Nigeria. Then we can now begin to look at that.
All right, thank you so much for sharing your views with us on the program. But